The North Hunterdon-Voorhees Regional High School District Board of Education meeting on Tuesday, May 26, 2026 is now called to order. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-6, adequate notice giving the time, date, location, and to the extent known the agenda of this meeting was sent to the Hunterdon County Democrat, Star-Ledger, and Courier News on January 7, 2026, and published on January 12, 2026. In addition, notice of this meeting has been posted at the North Hunterdon High School and Voorhees High School, provided to the municipal clerks of Bethlehem Township, California Borough, Town of Clinton, Clinton Township, Franklin Township, Glen Gardner Borough, Hampton Borough, Highbridge Borough, Lebanon Township, Tewksbury Township, and Union Township, as well as other interested parties, and posted on the legal notices section on the district website. I don't know if I'm going to have enough breath to add Bloomsbury to that next year. Fire exits are located in the direction indicated. If alerted to fire, please move in a calm and orderly fashion to the nearest smoke-free exit. Restrooms are located through the doors behind this desk and to the right as indicated. At this time, please silence all cell phones. Roll call.
Ms. Ayers? Here. Mr. Chapman?
Here.
Mr. Hanley?
Here.
Ms. Hibbs? Here. Mr. Lordy?
Here.
Mr. Matthews?
Here.
Ms. Kuzakakis is absent. Mr. Morgan?
Here.
Ms. Reyes? Here. Mr. Spanton?
Here.
Ms. Stein? Here. And Mr. McIsaac?
Here. I do want to just read the mission statement. I forgot to do that on the front. The North Hunterdon-Voorhees Regional High School District empowers all students through innovative and personalized learning to achieve their full potential, embrace lifelong learning, and continue responsibly to a changing world. That brings us to the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Can I start with a call for a motion and second to approve agenda items 4.1, 4.2? Can I get a motion? Andrew, thank you. Can I get a second? Rich, thank you. Questions or clarifications on our minutes from April? Stephen?
Do I need to abstain for anything about this being absent on 4/28?
That would be the way. Yep, you could just abstain from that. Yep. Any other questions or clarifications? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstentions? So we have Stephen, we have Cynthia, and
4.1.
okay, 4.1, 4.1, and Mr.
4.1.
and Mr.
4.2.
Lewis, and 4.2 from Mr. Matthews. All right, got that? We're going to take the agenda slightly out of order. We are awaiting our other two student board representatives who are actually coming from another honor ceremony. So we're going to let them get over to here, and then we'll recognize our board member students and hear their last reports for the year. So we'll jump ahead to number 7 on our agenda, which is the review of the New Jersey Department of Education school self-assessment for determining grades under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act. And this is our report, and Mrs. Komorowski will walk us through that.
Hey, everybody. Actually, I don't have to do it before. You're going to share, so I'm okay going on.
A little bit. So really, for what I need to present tonight is just what I presented actually in October. It's the exact same scores that were presented in October. They just now have been certified by the state. So just as a reminder, when we met in was the October 28th board meeting, I shared the results. The district scored a 77 out of 78 possible in the self-assessment. For those of you that are new to this, the self-assessment is composed of 8 different core elements. Our anti-bullying specialists, along with the school climate and safety team, meet every fall. So they meet in September to review the previous year. So this is for the previous school year, not the current school year that we are in. It looks at things like staff training on policy and procedures, curriculum instruction regarding HIB, the HIB personnel themselves, HIB incident reporting investigation procedures. Our scores are commensurate with years previously, as once again, and represent like a continued dedication to the implementation of the HIB policies in our district. The 24-25 score report after this evening's meeting can be posted on the district website in accordance with the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. And then I'll be back next October with this current school year's self-assessment. So, any questions on anything related to that? Yes.
Beyond, the scoring and the meeting of the criteria, what become the types of conversations that you have where you're always looking to sort of refine or align certain values?
Sure. Is there anything that we're missing? Is there anything we need to change? Each year the state will release HIB cases that have kind of gone up to an appeal or something like that. Is there anything we should learn from that or be taking into account in our buildings about things like that? If there's been a revision, the HIB laws, I think, on its third, well, I should know. I did a presentation on its third revision since it initially was enacted. So just making sure we're staying up to date with everything. We're very lucky. It tends to be our anti-bullying specialists have been in those positions now with us in both buildings for at least a couple years, so that's also really nice. They're pretty well versed. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. That brings us to our Chief School Administrator's report.
Okay, and I just realized for once, I might say something that the board reps didn't. So, I don't think so. I did read your reports. Thank you for sharing those. And I think they're unique. So, I do want to send a huge thank you to both of our parent organizations at North Hunterdon and Voorhees for supplying food and snacks for Teacher Appreciation Week. Our administration provided additional thank you events throughout the week. But I also want to thank the North Hunterdon Booster Club, who provided lunch for all of our coaches as a way to say thank you as they do for the athletic programs. We're very fortunate to have supportive parent organizations, and at both schools we see that, and it was great to see them come out, show their appreciation, and that's always a great way to do with food. So teachers always appreciate that. I want to congratulate Emily Scott, who is a senior from North Hunterdon High School, who was successful in earning the 2026 Hunterdon-Warren Association of School Business Officials Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 for secondary schooling. Emily was presented this award at a meeting on May 20th. Both Katie and I were able to attend that, and it was great to see Emily honored. She was one of 4 students between the 2 counties that received it. So that was great. I also want to mention we had students from the Bohio School in Cartagena, Spain. They arrived on April 22nd and stayed with our North Hunterdon families and students until May 2nd. These were exchange students from Spain. They were able to attend North for 2 of the days they were here, and then they got to experience lots of what our school had to offer in the after school and evening events. They also spent a weekend with their families to explore on their own, and they traveled to New York City on some of the other weekdays. The host families were invited to do a farewell luncheon and encouraged to make a Spanish dish with the help of their student. Our families were very generous during this time, and we're always very appreciative of their hospitality, so thank you to all the families who hosted a exchange student. We couldn't do that without you, so we appreciate that. Congratulations to 2 North Hunterdon students, Lucy Sklar and Eric Beswick. Give me a good night for the Sklars. And Voorhees student Daphne Roskowski and Austin Fritz. All of these students were recognized at the Skylands Conference Scholar Athlete Luncheon for the Carl Wigner Scholar Athlete Award. Again, this is a pretty high honor. It's awarded to 2 students at each school, male and female student at each school, and so congratulations to those students. It's really a great accomplishment. I did want to mention that we did our North Hunterdon, or our New Jersey student learning assessments last week on the 18th, 19th, and 20th. We were able to do it in 3 days. These assessments measure student progress towards the New Jersey student learning standards in language arts, mathematics, and science. And as a public school, we're required to give these assessments, but it is a lot of work that goes into this, so thank you for the students that spend the time taking the assessments and making this look good. And then also for our teachers and admin staff for planning these assessments and making sure they're rolled out seamlessly. They tend to change these platforms and change the rules a little bit each year, so it always, as soon as you get used to doing it one way, something changes. But we went off without a hitch this year, and everything was great. It was also an adaptive test this year, so that's one of the things that changed, is that as students were taking the assessment, everybody wasn't seeing the same questions. It was adapting to how the students were answering, making it a little harder, a little easier in scoring. I did want to also mention I met with some representatives from North Hunterdon Wrestling Club about a possible collaboration that we can do with them. They'd like to actually erect some type of a facility on our property. You know, we're looking at a couple different locations, and they want to fundraise for it and do some donations in kind of thing, similar to what we did for the throwing pits out there, the turf at North Hunterdon when we did that back in the day. It seems like they're really eager to connect and work with us on that, so we're going to work with them, and I'll be bringing to you, some proposals in the near future. Just so you know, part of that. But it was a good meeting, and I think we're going to come up with some really great things. I did want to mention for graduation gowns, I was hoping to have them for all you tonight, but they're not here yet. They will come in next week. Between Mark McGeehan at Voorhees, who orders all the gowns for you, and myself and a couple other people, we'll figure out how to get all of your gowns as soon as they come in next week, so you'll have plenty of time for graduation ceremony. And we have, I think, a record-breaking number of board members coming to graduation this year. I think we have 8 coming to both ceremonies, and I think 1 coming to North and 1 coming to Voorhees, which would mean we have 9 board members at each. We might have to erect another stage, just but we'll fit everybody, and it's just great to see everybody come out. I do want to talk about our strategic planning process. Strategic planning committee met on May 12th. The purpose of this meeting was to review our strategic planning goals and objectives and talk about our progress towards each. We used a rubric that had 4 levels, 1 being needs improvement, 2 being approaching expectations, 3 being meeting expectations, and 4 being exceeding expectations. And we used that to go through basically the goals and objectives and talk about what we felt we accomplished as a committee, what we felt we accomplished as a district. We ended up a pretty good mix of approaching expectations. We had 6 categories that met approaching expectations, and then 5 categories that met meeting expectations. We did have 2 areas that rated as needs improvement, so we're going to focus on those for the coming year and make sure that we address those. That had to do with alternative funding sources and reviewing board policies with the committee, and there were just things that we just didn't get to this year because there were other things we were focusing on. But overall, the committee was happy with the progress that we made, and I think that shows in in the first year of a plan like this, approaching expectations is sort of what you're shooting for, right? You don't want to exceed expectations in year 1 because maybe your goals and objectives were not as difficult as they should have been. But we also decided to hold off on doing a final rating on goal number 2, which had to do with personnel. That was the pillar was personnel, and a lot of that had to do with climate for personnel. And we held off on that because we're still waiting for data from the school climate improvement survey that we administer each year. And then we also, the NHV, our association, is actually doing a climate survey as well on their own with their own membership. So they're going to collect that data, share it with us as well. And so between those 2 surveys, we'll have a lot of data to validate each other, and that'll help us determine whether or not what progress we made towards goal number 2. We're probably going to do some type of an asynchronous kind of meeting where we'll share the data, talk about it asynchronously, and then if need be, we'll call a virtual meeting and get together with the committee one more time just to review that data and officially have a rating for that. And then we also have the website redesign is coming out this summer, and with that, we're going to have some of the dashboards or dashboard-esque kind of presentations of the data that we're collecting here, and that'll be available to the public, and then we'll update that as the years go on. We also talked about our Staff Spotlight Awards, which I'll get to in a minute, and there was also discussion around our senior exit interview surveys. Mike Swarsha had talked about our the data that we collect in the senior exit interviews, and while a lot of it is related to future plans, for seniors, he also said that we collect information on the high school experience, what happened over the last 4 years. Some of that data we can use to improve that experience, and the committee felt it was really important to review that data, so that's one of the things that came out of this meeting as well. In the beginning of next year, we're going to review the student data from this year's seniors, for your input, and then see what kind of tweaks we can do to improve that student experience year to year. And then we have our staff spotlights. I was hoping that Max and Maura were going to be here for this, but I don't see them here yet, so I'm going to proceed with this. Actually, I'm going to start with Voorhees. And G, if you can go to the...
Before you move on to that, could
Oh,
you
sure.
remind me, not the names, but the rough composition of the strategic planning committee?
Yep. So we have teachers from both schools. We have 2 district administrators and 1 building administrator. We also have a child study team member. We have guidance counselors. And we have one of our coaches that in middle school. Actually, both of our coaches, the ELA and the MAC. So it's a really good mix of people. And yeah, I think we had some good input this year from that committee. So.
Once that report is final, is that something you'll share with us? Like,
Oh yeah,
on the draft?
definitely.
Okay.
So in June, actually, once we compile all this data, I'll be doing more of a comprehensive presentation
Okay.
for you all. This was just an update on what we did this month in May.
Okay.
And now, that, again, we're waiting for that personnel pillar so that we can report on everything all at once. So,
Would that naturally include like the climate culture survey as well in there? I know that's often an annual standalone sort
Yep.
of thing.
it would, and we would
Okay.
talk about that, but we didn't
Okay.
have the data quick enough this year.
Right.
We're looking at actually moving those timelines up next year, so we'll have the data
Okay.
sooner.
Well,
so
yeah,
we can talk about it.
I'm just wondering because it sounds like there's a couple of avenues sort of coming together, streams of information coming together.
There is.
And I didn't know if it's a comprehensive report that sort of captures that in a way that we can digest it. That would be great.
Yeah.
Or a presentation.
I think I'll have
yeah.
that long before the June meeting,
Okay.
and so I can share it with the board so you have time to digest it,
Okay.
come up with questions, and then we'll present it.
Was there another hand? Okay. I know G was
I'm okay
sitting-
with questions because we can wait for more. All right. If not, let's start with Voorhees. G, can you put up the third slide? And we'll see if Max and Moore are getting here in time. So the Voorhees Staff Spotlight this year was unanimous with the committee, with the Strategic Planning Advisory Committee for Aiden Gianelli. So I'm just going to give some quick highlights of Aiden Gianelli's experience here. First of all, he's one of the few people left in the district that have been here longer than me. He beats me by a year. He started in 1998. Some of the things that he accomplished during his time here was he raised enrollment and participation in music classes to a level that justified the need for a third full-time teacher. There was a time there was only 2 full-time teachers at Voorhees, and now the program is so big that we need that third full-time teacher. He was instrumental in creating the string ensemble as a class, and that has grown significantly under his leadership. He helped create an honors level curriculum for ensembles, so students get an honors credit. There's a lot of big commitment in the music program, so being able to get that honors credit was huge for some students. He helped numerous students to regions and all state ensembles. That is countless. I don't even know how many students over the course of his career he was able to do that with, but lots of students benefited from his expertise and his teaching. He also helped advocate for the creation of the Voorhees High School Music Association. So if anyone is involved in that, that's a huge organization that raises a lot of money. And again, our district is better off as a result of that. With countless marching band successes, that's the biggest thing. When Aiden Gianelli comes to my mind, I think of marching band and what he did with it over the years, and all the competitions that he took the students to. And the marching band competitions are no joke. There's a lot of work and a lot of energy to go into that. And for a teacher to do as many competitions as he did each year, it was really a testament to his commitment to the program. He also created the Voorhees Pops concert. If anyone has had an opportunity to see that, it's a great concert. He mentored numerous student teachers throughout his time. He was actually Teacher of the Year in 2001, and then again, most recently in 2017. So he had 2 of those honors in his career. And he also played as a pit musician for many of our musicals and other programs that we have at Voorhees. And he just beloved and respected by all of his past and present students, staff, and parents. It's really evident. I heard at his last concert, that there was a lot of tears, and it was just a great, great farewell. And I think he was very grateful to be able to be a part of that. And Aiden is retiring at the end of this year, so that's why we're going to miss him. But we want to thank him for all of his commitment to programs over the years. All right, we're going to move up to Nort's recommendation, and then we'll see if we have a double back. So Megan Plax is a chemistry teacher at North Hunterdon. And the reason I thought this one was really special is that the students, actually, Max and Maura and their peers, actually were the ones that recommended Megan for this award. And so this was the write-up they did. So a lot of times the teachers are really involved in choosing these staff members. This was student-led, and this was Max. I think Maura helped Max with this, but Max is the one who shared it with me, so right now he gets the credit. So Mrs. Flax is the kind of teacher every student hopes to have. Someone you can turn to not only for help with science, but for any challenge you may be facing. She is truly the mom of the school, always there to offer extra help, guidance, and simply a conversation when someone needs it. It is so important for students to have a trusted adult they can rely on during school, and for so many students at North, she is that person. In the classroom, she teaches chemistry in a way that is both fun and easy to understand, making even the most difficult concepts feel manageable. She is patient with students who may not grasp material right away, and genuinely wants every one of her students to succeed, something that is evident in the care and dedication she puts into teaching. Her kindness and commitment to all students throughout the school community never go unnoticed. She is always willing to stay after school for extra help, and even on a rare occasion she cannot, she makes sure to provide other opportunities to meet and support her students. Thank you to her for teaching and her teaching and encouragement. Many students have never felt more prepared for an AP exam than they did walking into the AP chemistry test. So, as someone who knows Ms. Flax, just a wonderful person, wonderful teacher. Whenever you see her, nothing but smiles and nothing but positivity, and her commitment in the classroom is unparalleled as well. So I think Megan was very well deserving for this, and I love the fact that these are the students' words, not my words, not the staff's words. So thank you, Megan, and thank you, Max and Laura, for putting her forward as the captain. All right. And then we have our not so fun part of the superintendent's report, but the necessary pieces. Are there any questions on anything else? Okay. So our report on harassment, intimidation, bullying for this month is we have one case at Voorhees that was unfounded. So you'll be affirming that at the June meeting. And then we'll need a motion and a second for the incidents that were reported on 428. There was 4 at the 428 meeting that was unfounded as well.
So can I get a call for a motion and second to affirm the determinations on the HIV incidents reported at the April 28th, 2026 board meeting? Can I get that motion? Dan, second. Nicole, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstentions?
And then there's the monthly school reports. I don't know if there's any questions, additional questions on that from last week. I did verify it. There was one question that came up last week about April 23rd, and it was the Take Your Child to Work Day. And I think some students saw that as another opportunity for senior skip day. So there were a handful of students that might have been marked absent because they were helping with the program, but it was just a low attendance day. And then legal notices that it's going to be on there for on our website. Any other questions? No?
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Dr. Burgess. First item on mine is a call for a motion and second to approve Resolution 052626-3, urging relief from the rising public school employee health care costs. Can I get a motion? Stephen, I saw that. Second, I think I saw Nicole. Questions or clarifications? I do want to thank Tara again for kind of shepherding our last 2 resolutions forward. I think all of us who are dealing with the challenges of the budget each year have had lengthy conversations and a deepening understanding of some of the costs that are really beyond our control. So I think these resolutions, one to address the cost of healthcare aimed at state legislators, and our prior resolution aimed at the state for the funding formula, both in an attempt to bring clarity to either a complex formula or really bring relief to something that schools are all challenged by with the double-digit healthcare increases that we've been seeing over the last couple of years. So Tara, I want to thank you for your work in sort of shepherding our voice forward, and the hope is that other districts are doing likewise, and enough voices to enough legislators or enough state, Board of Education, not Board of, but Department of Education, can begin to sort of hopefully affect some change. And I'm hoping, and Tara, once again, I might lean on you and then Stephen as a delegate, where there are conversations to do more or directions to do more, because I do wonder that we can pass resolutions and other boards can pass resolutions, I don't know where it becomes incumbent upon ordinary citizens to sort of speak up on behalf of schools, to sort of say these costs are rising in ways that are beyond our school's ability to manage them. And before we get to the point of having to cut significant, whether staffing or programs or things of that sort, my hope is that we start to see some sort of movement on relief for these things. But that's me soapboxing a little bit. Any other just questions, clarifications, or thoughts? So we have
I do
Frank?
appreciate that the mention of the learning deficit is massaged over.
Yes.
We would have to explain that perhaps to somebody later. Thank you.
Any other questions or clarifications there? Is this just a voice vote? Or, okay, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstentions? None? Okay. Next order of business is our NJSBA Board Self-Evaluation and CSA Evaluation. I was able to get to everyone today the compiled CSA evaluation. We'll have some conversation with that, regarding that in executive tonight. And our timetable, I think I shared also, that will result in a summary kind of conference meeting at next month's board meeting in executive there as well. I would just ask on the self-evaluation, I think when I looked yesterday, about four or five folks had gotten in and were able to finish it. I'll ask if maybe by the end of the week folks can see that they have that done, and I will get that compiled as well. And that can potentially inform sort of an overview of our own work. I have reached out to Kathy Poria to see structures and ideas for board retreat kinds of activities. I know we're also scheduled next month for our goal setting. So all of this information should really be informing that work, the goal setting for the district, the goal setting for ourselves as well. Any questions or clarifications on that process or any of the materials that have been going your way? Okay. As I mentioned, I will be reaching out regarding the leadership roundtable to see if there is an appetite for an end-of-year meeting. I realize it may be a little challenging with everybody wrapping up graduations and things of that sort. So even if it has to wait until after that, into the calm of summer, there's, I think, an opportunity to keep those conversations going. And they'll become, I think, increasingly important given many of the initiatives that we're hearing about that are requiring more and more articulation, and districts that are just trying to face many of the same fiscal challenges and work with one another to carve out any sort of savings that they can find. Our next item is the deadline to submit nominating petitions for the school board vacancies to the county clerk office. That is by July 27th at 4 p.m. I mentioned our annual goal setting and regular board meeting will be June 23rd. If you recall, this is sort of a compiled meeting. We agreed to condense our 2 June meetings into the one. That'll be at 6 p.m. at the district office. And we know we have our 2 graduation ceremonies coming up, and Dr. Burgess just told us about the gowns. And then just one more time on the transportation, though I imagine there'll be another communication as well. I know there's some options if you're doing both. Could you just run those down again?
We'll send it out to everybody again and find out who plans to take advantage of the bus. So the advantage to the bus is that you meet here, the bus will be here about 8 o'clock. We usually take off around 8:15. Go up to Voorhees, everybody gets into the main office, get lined up, we do the Voorhees graduation, we get on the bus and they rush us right out so that we can beat the traffic and get back down here on time. So if you can take advantage of that, that's the best way to do it. Sometimes people, if they live closer to Voorhees, will want to start Voorhees and they'll just drive down. But again, not that that's terrible, but I recommend against it because you might get here a little late and just get a bunch of things late. So, and again, that'll come out soon so that everybody know what the options are.
And certainly those of you who have children graduating, I certainly want to encourage you to do what's best for your family that day. I know it's a great opportunity to be a part of a ceremony with your child, But then chances are you have plans right around that as well. So I guess depending on where that is, congratulations to you. Who was it again who has, I think, Dan, Stephen, Andrew. So congratulations to each of you. Looking forward to some good celebrations. Yeah, Brian.
It was probably in what you just described, but which goals are we setting next meeting? The district goals or the board goals or both?
Well, I guess there's it's kind of a combination of the goals for the district planning and the goals for ourselves.
So I'll have draft district goals for you for the next meeting, and then how the board wants to incorporate that into their own goals is really, I guess that's the process, right?
It may be tough to do our board goals if we haven't yet discussed our self-evaluation.
Well,
Or
yeah, I'm
maybe-
trying.
Maybe we could do both.
My hope is
Discuss the
that.
self-evaluation and set new ones.
Yeah, I think my hope is that if we have the board's self-evaluation within the next week or so, folks can have that for a few weeks where they can kind of take a look at that. When I think of some of our goals, like for example, one of our goals this year was really our effort to sort of be in communication or stay on top of the strategic plan. And some of that will fall to the reporting that Dr. Burgess does or the communicating that we put on the website. So it is nice when the goals sort of align or can mutually support each other. We separately had goals for things like norms and communication mechanisms. So I guess that might depend a little bit out of what comes out of the board's self-evaluation too. What seems like it might be most pressing there.
But district goals for sure.
Yeah, we'll have drafts for that. And again, I don't think, they don't have to be finalized at the June meeting. I think that's really an opportunity for the board to discuss, using the capital command if we get around.
Yeah.
Somebody to talk about this goal setting process, and then it sort of starts that conversation. Probably adopting board goals at the July or August meeting. I think last year we didn't adopt them until October. It's probably a little too late, but maybe we can get them July and August before school year starts. That's probably maybe.
Other questions or clarifications? All right, I'm going to shift to our opportunity for public comment. During this portion of the meeting, the public is invited to address the Board of Education with comments. You are requested to sign the register provided and to state your name, municipality of residence, group affiliation if applicable, and direct your comments to the school board president. While all comments will be considered by the Board of Education and a response may be forthcoming if and when appropriate, individual school board members may not respond to the speakers at the time of their appearance. The public comment will be a maximum of 30 minutes in length unless there are unusual circumstances. You will be allocated 3 minutes to speak, and no one will be permitted to speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. Please keep your comments respectful and non-defamatory, and maintain the level of decorum appropriate for a public meeting where students may be present and in the audience.
Perfect.
Is that better? Hi. First, I want to thank everybody for the thankless job, but the most important job, to be on a school board. And I know how hard that is. My name is Matthias Schroeder. I'm the mayor of Glen Gardner. And trust me, when I know about the rising healthcare costs, it's hitting my town too, right? So my empathy with you and your efforts in that regard. Secondarily, I'm not sure if you actually are going to highlight some athletes that come here, right? You know, I'm biased because I'm the mayor, right? Hunter Brown, the great baseball player. I'm going to get his autograph. I have his autograph before he goes pro, right? But I come here in another topic, right? I think I did forward some information was forwarded to you last meeting, and it was my bad because, you know, and in my venue as mayor, public comment comes at the end and not at the beginning, and that's totally on me. And I am dressed very casually. I dropped the wife and family at home, just got back from vacation, but I didn't want to miss the window here. So I'm going to try and frame this up very succinctly because I want to respect your time. So mental health is something that's really important to me. I've spent over 20 years in various clinical R&D, mental health technology, and alike. And my mission in life is everything that I do, whether it's a new drug brought to market or whether it's a service that can help people, change people's lives, that's my MO, right? I know that in the past, unfortunately, you know, you hear about it all the time, about the suicides that happen, and I think I have something that might make sense. Okay, mental health is probably the biggest pandemic besides COVID. People struggle with mental health. You know, I'm working at the state level, at the county level, and it's kind of astonishing, right? Because there are all these suicide prevention walks, how to talk to your parents or family about mental health, talking to veterans about benefits, millions and millions of dollars, literally, but nothing's being done. So, you know, as a son of a veteran, I've got several in my family, and a wife who has bulimia, but thank God she's doing really, really well. It's not a weakness to ask for help, right? But many people just don't know how to get there. So in perusing the website, I saw they have a lot of psychologists on staff, and that's great. So I've been talking with the county. They've really what I'd like to do is get a pilot program here. Brad Meyer at the county purchasing, and all the administration has the money for it. And I said, hey, you know, how much would it cost? $10,000, maybe. And they said, fine, we've got the budget. If you can find a school that's willing to participate in a pilot, great, because we're kind of all in this together. So Clinicom was actually designed by a triple board certified fellow psychiatrist. And one of the things that Dr. Handel had run into was all of the assessments that they're using took a lot of time and didn't provide a lot of information. So he decided to create his own. And it's not artificial, right? It's based on what they call the DSM-TR5, which is actually the Bible, if you will, version for psychiatry, psychology, right? And it was used to bring more than 25 psychiatric drugs to market through clinical trials for over 20 years. And then it was commercialized in 2020. And really was designed for clinicians, LPNs, social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, right? To help them diagnose, not to take over their job, right? It screens for 80 plus conditions, and it actually defines a lot of comorbidities associated with these effects, these illnesses, right? And that's super, super, super important. So, you know, so the product was actually rolled out into a lot of colleges, a lot of schools, as an example, because we know what happened in the pandemic. And even before the pandemic, I think there was always that struggle, right? And the reason it's so effective is that literally what happens is, in some cases, some people go to, if you have insurance, it starts out with primary care, right? And, hey, doc, you know what? My name's Matthias. I'm stressed out. I've had stress, anxiety. I'm having a hard time at work. You know, my wife is up my butt. I can't sleep. And they'll be like, I'm sorry. Over? Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know. Forgive me. I'm sorry. So this would be a really effective program, I think, that could benefit, right? Primarily because kids, they don't want to be seen in a counselor's office. There's a stigma, just like being in a principal's office. So what happens is, clinician sends them a text via text and email. They can do it in the comfort of their own home. It's finished. It goes right back. So there's no stigma, and people love the screen because you see them texting, posting things that they would never say face to face, right? So it's really effective. Last sentence, and thank you so much for giving me a little bit over We also have what's called a Clinicom 360, right? And that includes a parent, a child, a teacher, or a coach. So if student Matthias is having problems, or Sarah, whoever, Sarah or Sally, oh, my daughter said that she's depressed. Well, you know, she's a teenager, her hormones are going great, right? Parents are like, yeah, sure, right? So by getting that purview, and it's case studied, Marie took it, sent it back, the parent took it on the basis of Marie, and then the coach or teacher took it. It came back with that 360 perspective, and they did not know that Marie tried to commit suicide 3 days prior. So it's super effective, and I think that, you know, and quite frankly, this could be a hats off to North for being the first high school in the state to actually try and put something together. My last recommendation would be is that thank you, Richard, for reach out to Richard. I'd be happy to discuss it. I thought maybe now in the summer after graduation it might be a better time to do it. I don't benefit from it, not a nickel, but I just think it might be something that's worth a try that we could maybe talk further if you so desire. So I just wanted to take time and thank you for letting me go over.
Thank you very much, Treasurer. It's a very important subject, and certainly appreciate that.
We'll be happy to put you in touch, certainly with the administration, to continue the conversation. I think there are, I think every municipality, school district, they're all looking for solutions. So I think it's a well-timed opportunity, at least to have a conversation. So
Pilot, it's not
thank
going
you
to cost anybody, but thank you again for all you do. Greatly appreciate all of you.
Say, Mr. I don't know if you remember, but you and I attended
A ribbon cutting about 7 years ago at CPS to open the makerspace.
Yes, I did. The technology center.
Yes, good to see you again.
If you haven't changed a bit, you're more good.
You either.
That's what happens the best.
Thank you, thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Thanks for what you do. Thank you.
So we have another member of the public.
Good evening, Amy Barrett from Highbridge. I'm here to express support for board members who are once again being besieged by the same people who promoted banning library books about sexuality and LGBTQ characters. Specifically, for those listening, a lawsuit has been filed in federal court against North Hunterdon-Voorhees and 4 other school districts for adopting a gender identity and expression policy. And I just want to note that policy, or the Strauss-Esme version, has been on the books here, I believe, since 2018. It's not new. I urge the board and administration to stay the course in following this policy and following the NJDOE guidelines on transgender students and New Jersey law. As you know, over 500 school districts in New Jersey have adopted a similar policy. I'm sorry you've been singled out for it. Which says that transgender and non-binary students have the human right to be addressed by their chosen names and pronouns, and to wear clothing and use restrooms that correspond to their gender identity. The New Jersey courts have ruled that when a transgender child says, "Don't tell my parents," notifying their parents may result in irreparable harm to the child. Your LGBTQ students may need some additional support from the administration, teachers, and counselors to reassure them that North Hunterdon and Voorhees high schools remain safe places for them in the current political and litigious climate. Remember, they are your most vulnerable students. Finally, I am appalled, though not surprised, that Christopher Stadoulis, who's the husband of board member Cynthia Reyes, is a co-complainant in a lawsuit that could cost this district and all of us taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars. Mr. Stadoulis, stop trying to impose your intolerant views on all families in this community. Ms. Reyes, if you support your husband's lawsuit, you are clearly not exercising fiscal responsibility and should resign from the board. Thank you.
Karen Go of Highbridge, speaking as a resident and constituent, not as a school board member. That's your pen. Ditto what Amy said. I spoke to that last week. But I did want to speak to something else. I want to say that I am very happy that the meetings here have been more open and not contentious. It's nice to see. And I want to thank Mr. The point I made about having 2 public comment sessions, you are the only district in the county that only has 1. Public input should outweigh your desire to have short meetings. I missed an opportunity to speak on something about the referendums last week because it was more thoroughly explained by the gentleman that was here. And there was no second opportunity to speak. And if I speak to it now, everybody already knows how they're going to vote because this is the voting meeting. Last week was a discussion meeting. You've had a week to discuss it among yourselves and figure out how you were going to vote. So we need an opportunity to speak to things that happen during the meetings. There's nothing in your bylaws regarding this, so it should be an easy fix. And I also wanted to comment on your executive session. Every week you have a list of 9 things that you may be talking about in an executive session, and I don't think you're talking about negotiations and personnel and litigation and purchasing property at every executive session. According to New Jersey statute, I could look it up if you want me to. I have it on my phone. I have it right here. NJSA 1014-3 says that you need to say what you're going to be talking about in an executive session. And you just keep saying, all your executive session things say litigation specifically, and then there's a colon, and there's no specifically. So you just have a list of 9 things that I'm assuming you're not talking about all of them. So when you're going into exec, if you could please let us know what you're going to be talking about. And if you could please move old and new business before executive session, because we all go home. And then you start talking about stuff, and then, you know, I see it a week later when I'm watching the video. Thank you.
Do we have any additional public comment at this time? All right, I'd like to go back into the order. Max and Maura, welcome. Congratulations. Happy to wait for you this last meeting. We have a recognition of student achievements, and we will have our final board student representative reports. So
We have to do
the reports first, and then we'll do the recognitions? Okay. I'll leave it to you to decide. I lost track of who went first last time. Always the diplomat.
Okay. So we've had a very eventful month. In the beginning of May, May 1st and 2nd, North hosted their Spring Cabaret, which was just a review of songs and scenes that was put together by the North Hunterdon Theater Organization. We also had our senior sunrise that morning, May 1st, which was Decision Day. So that's where senior students gathered to view the sunrise and also take pictures in their merchandise of their college or their future plans next year. On May 18th, we had a sunset for Sophia the Torres. For those who don't know, she passed away at the beginning of junior year last year. So following the girls' lacrosse senior night, students and community members gathered to watch the sunset and honor Sophia the Torres. Coming up, the Shine for Sophia event, that is on June 5th. That will be hosted by our school's Interact Club, in which seniors are allowed to miss class second half of the day and play and participate in field games, which all participants have to pay, and all that money will go to her foundation, and it'll be a day of fun and honoring Sophia as well. Coming up tomorrow, we have our Cultural Celebrations Day. Students from all different cultures and different backgrounds participate and celebrate their culture, where they bring in food, drinks, snacks, and information about their country or culture. This is a full-day event. It takes place in our main gym, and students and teachers throughout the day get to stop by the gym and taste and experience the cultures of North Hunterdon High School. We've had a bunch of Honor Society inductions this past week. On May 21st, Art Honor Society, Math Honor Society, English, Science, and History Honor Societies all inducted new members for the following year. The World Language Awards were hosted on May 19th, so all languages, which includes German, French, Latin, and Spanish, honor the efforts and achievements of their students, and students who passed their national language exam or their seal by literacy were also recognized at this event. And finally, today, seniors attended the Think Fast and Safe Driving presentation. This is a pre-prom safety initiative. Seniors prior to prom weekend sat today and heard a presentation about making safe decisions during prom weekend and beyond. This presentation, titled Teen Driver Safety, aims to raise awareness and encourage safer behaviors through an interactive game show style format. The Think Fast Interactive uses a combination of peer engagement, prizes, and real-time feedback to help students internalize important safety messages in a fun and memorable way. And I will now turn it over to Mara to finish our work.
Okay, so some athletics recap for you. So today, the boys and girls baseball and softball teams begin the first round play in the NJSIAA tournament. So we'll see how they did. I think they just had them, so hopefully they did well. Then our girls track and field team captured both the sectionals title championship and the Hunterdon-Voorhees championship, marking their 5th consecutive sectional title. In the boys track and field, we have a highlight for a specific athlete, Ian Hansen. He broke 2 long-standing school records, one for the discus, which is his lengthy throw of 164 feet and 9 inches. That broke a 46-year-old school record, and then his shot put record of 55 feet and 25 inches, breaking a 19-year-old record. The baseball team also won the Hunterdon-Voorhees championship for the 3rd consecutive year. Our boys lacrosse, along with other lacrosse and other organizations, ended up this season, and for boys lacrosse it specifically had a successful record of 8-10. I know a lot of those were close games and they're really tight-knit. Our boys volleyball completed an impressive 11-5 season along with numerous other teams at our school. So then for some student recognition of our athletes, the Skyline Conference Scholar athletes were Lucy Sklar, happens to be Max Thor's student, so just a little shout out. Eric Beswick. Our NJSIAA Scholar athlete was Amara Scully. Our Hunterdon-Voorhees Scholar athletes include Natalie Olson and Alex Beswick. And then lastly, Patrick Boytel was recognized as a recipient of the St. Luke's Perseverance Award. He was injured and came back and had a great season, so it was a super big highlight for the lacrosse program. During the signing day, 26 student athletes committed to continue their athletic careers at the collegiate level, and our senior and athletic awards night will take place on June 4th. Now some school highlights. Our AP testing concluded with 474 students taking a total of 713 AP exams. Quite a number, quite a lot of studying, so hopefully we have some success. Today, May 26th, the National Honor Society hosted the annual blood drive, resulting in approximately 260 pints of blood donated just today. That was a huge success for us. The National Honor Society induction ceremony was held on May 13th, welcoming 97 new inductees. That's a very big number for an incoming class of just juniors. So that was very impressive for them. The school has successfully hosted 2 spring concerts recognizing the accomplishments of all musical ensembles, including band, choir, and orchestra. Prom will be held this Friday with more than 325 tickets sold to this date. And then lastly, we want to do a special thank you to our PTSA for sponsoring the Teacher Appreciation Luncheon. And then also, we appreciate the PTSA's continued support of Project Graduation through its organization efforts and transportation assistance of all of our seniors. And that's it.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Maura. A couple of just quick thoughts. These reports that you give, I think, are, and this is true of all of you, really are the best showcase that we have as a district. So I thank you for the report all year, the work that you do. I would really like for us to explore ways to further amplify the things that you're sharing. Certainly, those of us in attendance or at the meeting or watching hear all of these amazing things. Perhaps we as a board can explore other ways to sort of amplify those messages to our communities just because I think you just capture it so well, and it's so comprehensive of all the success and wonderful things that folks are doing. So thank you for your year of work. Shifting over to Samantha and Andrew.
Andrew's going to start,
Okay.
and then I'll take over.
Sounds good. I'd like to start the first half of Marie's main report with the sports highlight. Most importantly, the boys track and field team were the sectional champions this year, which is a massive deal. They put in so much time, and the work paid off. They spent a lot of time celebrating that, which is very awesome for them. The girls track and field team also took second place at sectionals, which is another massive feat. There's a lot of schools competing in sectionals, and it's a phenomenal job by them. Voorhees boys lacrosse team hosted their annual Salute to Service game to raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project to support wounded veterans, which is awesome. And the Voorhees girls lacrosse team also chipped in, and they hosted a clothing drive from April 15th to May 31st. And if you're curious, you can still donate by the bins at the hut next to the turf at Voorhees. Moving on with arts, Voorhees hosted 2 concerts, which is great, both on May 13th and the 20th. The freshman and concert choir, quadruple and bass choir, and then the string orchestra, concert band, and wind ensembles. And the Broadway Review and Senior Showcase happening May 30th at 7 and May 31st at 2. It's a really big deal. Good luck to all of them. They're going to crush it, as well as a wide selection of musical theater numbers. June 1st, Voorhees is heading to the state team arts competition, which I believe is in Mattawan. And several groups are nominated and will go to states to compete against all other high-ranking schools. It's awesome. And just wanted to give a big shout out to Matthew Som, who is nominated for a Student Achievement Award in Lighting Design at the Beavermill Playhouse nomination. He's been doing this for multiple years. He's put a lot of time into lighting design, and it's great to see him finally be recognized for that.
Okay, I'm going to shift over to academics, clubs, activities, and accomplishments. So we did just conclude NJSLA testing. It was very successful. I think we worked out all the kinks with NJGPA, and it went a lot smoother this time around. We also have finals coming up on June 9th through 12th, and just in case you didn't know, if you have a 93 average or higher in a class, you don't have to take the final, which is very, very lovely. In terms of clubs, activities, and accomplishments, we have our underclassmen awards tomorrow during the school day. And these awards are academic, athletic, extracurricular related. And then we also have senior awards, which tends to be more scholarships, but also any type of seal of biliteracy in addition to academic, athletic, extracurriculars. We had our unified banquet, which is a new thing that we started this year. Anyone who participated in Unified Club, Unified Sports, Unified Theater, or Unified Classes was invited to attend. It was a great time, and it was a celebration of seniors and participation throughout the various aspects of Unified. We do have our Relay for Life this Friday, May 29th from 3 to 11 on the VHS football field. As of today, we've raised $12,200, which was $10,000 more than we had at this point last year. We're hoping to reach our goal of $20,000 by Friday. So if you're interested in coming, it's going to be a great time. We have several food trucks, and we're just going to build a community to fight cancer and spread awareness. Our class of 2029 held a school-wide movie night on the turf. It was the first of its kind. It was on May 15th. There were food trucks and over 100 attendees, and from what I heard, they had a great time. Key Club hosted a nursing home drive for the Rolling Hills Care Center in Lebanon. And they collected various self-care products as well as entertainment items for residents, and they very much appreciated it. I'm in contact with them, and it definitely helped and supported their needs at the home. VHS History Honor Society hosted Field of Flags, which is something they started last year where people purchase flags and donate money to support the VFW 5119, which is in Glen Gardner. And they line up the flags outside the school, and it's a very nice celebration. And you can still see it outside the school until tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are hosting our blood drive from 8 to 2 in the back gym. So if you're interested in donating, you can check the school website and then sign up to donate and just come in and give blood. We also have junior senior prom. Ours is combined, unlike North, on June 5th at Steel Stacks in Bethlehem. And as of now, we have over 400 attendees, so it's going to be a great time. And last but not least, we have graduation on June 16th at 9 a.m. and I hope to see a lot of you there. So thank you.
Samantha, Andrew, Max, Maura, you have been amazing ambassadors this year. Again, your reports just illuminate all the wonderful things that are happening in the district. I want to wish you luck, and I hope that you continue to sort of step into that role of leadership, of governance, in whatever path or school you may be at. You excel at it. I encourage you to continue in whatever capacity you see fit to do. I would be proud to be seeing you seated here someday as board members, be it here or wherever you may be as well. So best of luck to all of you. Thank you once again.
So I also want to just share my thanks. I've enjoyed working with all of you throughout the year. You know, one of the best parts of my job is meeting with you monthly and talking about what you're going to talk about here. Getting to know you has really been a pleasure, so thank you for that. I do want to acknowledge Ms. Plax, who was able to come here as well. She came in with Max and Maura, and because of the timing and everything, you're going to have to go and look at the video to see the kind words that Max and Maura wrote about you, and I already presented that to the board and the community, but it is on video. You can get it on YouTube. G has it downloaded usually pretty early in the morning, but thank you for coming out. It was an honor to have the students recommend you.
Thank you. I was very surprised.
So I think we have recognition.
Yes, so the principals now are going to just recognize
some. Let's.
Come on up,
Dr.
guys.
Cottrell. And there will be photo opportunities as well.
Yes.
So it's my pleasure to say a few words about the students who have spent the most time in the principal's office. It's not always for a bad reason. Come on up, guys. So, you know, I got the pleasure of knowing these two last year under some, well, last year's when I really got to know them, under some unfortunate circumstances with Sophia starting the year the way they did. These two were the leaders of what was the junior class at that time, and they really took the lead, and they were my eyes and ears of the class, and that has not changed since we got into their senior year. You know, I meet with them regularly. They're coming into my office, letting me know what's going on, and it's really just been a true pleasure to get to know them. They are absolutely amazing students, responsible, respected voices of the class, which, you know, means a lot. You have to get elected, and it's not just a popularity contest, because I think the class really does know that these two are going to represent them well. And you'll hear, based on what they've done here and what their future plans are, I think they have a very bright future ahead of them. So I will start with Max, and I'm going to have to read this because we got a lot here. So Max, during his 4 years at North, Max has had a huge impact on our school. He has served as a class officer for all 4 years, participated in the biomed program, and is currently the vice president of the Band and Choir Council. He has been a drum major for the last 2 years and a 4-year member of the marching band. This year, Max also served as a student director of our Spring Cabaret and has frequently held lead roles in our musical productions, most recently playing Shrek, where he was awesome. Max is the president of Rho Kappa and a member of our Math, Science, Rho Kappa Social Studies, National Technical, Tri-M, Spanish, Thespian, and National Honor Societies. Max will be attending the University of Pittsburgh Honors College this fall, where he plans to study biological sciences on a pre-med track with the goal of becoming a pediatrician. So that's Max. We'll give him a round of applause now. Maura is currently the senior class president and was the vice president last year. Maura has also built an impressive record of leadership and involvement at North. She is a member of our History, Math, Latin, English, Science, and National Honor Societies. She has attended the biomed program, served as a peer leader and member of Team PEP, and has dedicated 4 years to working with the Special Olympics. In athletics, Maura was a 4-year varsity athlete in cross country, track, and lacrosse, earning sectional titles in the 800 meter at both the Hunterdon-Voorhees Sussex and Skyland Conference Championship. Maura will be attending Villanova in the fall to pursue a degree in nursing and plans to become a pediatric nurse practitioner. Congratulations, Maura. And we're not quite done with them yet. As class officers, they'll both be playing a big role in our upcoming senior class awards night. Maura will be giving a speech at graduation as the senior class president, and Max will be singing in the choir. So you're not quite done hearing from them yet, but again, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to grab a photo in front.
We'll do some photos in Harris style, please feel free to get up.
Dr. Curtis, you grabbing a photo, looks like? Since I'm here, you guys will, please. Thank you. Good job, guys.
I know. I know. That's yours. That's yours. I think I got that right. So, I can't even believe we're at the end of May, and I'm actually up here getting to talk about the two of them. Samantha Orr, Andrew Bruce have been outstanding representatives for the school this entire year. There were 5 that had put in to be in this position, and they became the top 2. I do actually include all 5, so it was great to sit down with all 5 of them and have lunch with them. Well, they ate. It was a little early for me. And getting to talk with them about not only what's going on in school, but, and what they're going to say, but what their plans are and what they do outside of school and everything else. They are extremely busy, and I'm going to tell you, they're probably the 2 of the nicest people you're ever going to meet. And I wish them so much success in the future, and I think we're going to see a common theme with the 4 when I tell you about what they're going to go on and do after high school. I will say this, and I'll start with Andrew. Andrew, very much, you finally got to meet him. Besides the first meeting, but Andrew is that locomotive behind everything that just keeps everything kind of going, and I know has been really helpful to Sam in getting the reports together and everything else. And you're going to see why, because Andrew, he is a busy guy, and I don't know how he does all of this, but here you go. Andrew volunteers at the Hunterdon Health in the outpatient pharmacy for 3 years. He is a volunteer at the Hunterdon County Medication Access Program through Hunterdon Health for 2 years. He volunteers with Lebanon Township Fire Department going on fire and EMS calls as an EMT. He's been doing that for 2 years. He also volunteers with the South Branch Emergency Services, serving Clinton, Lebanon, and Highbridge on EMS and rescue calls as an EMT. Been doing that for 2 years now. Works as a community manager for a marketing agency, also 2 years, and he's logged over 700 volunteer service hours over the last 4 years. In the future, he is going to study biology at the University of Tampa on the pre-med track. So there's that common theme. And his goal is to become an emergency department physician. You watch The Pit?
I love The Pit.
It's great.
God. Really
I wish you well. That's pretty amazing and remarkable, and I wish you all the best in your plans going forward. Sam, how much energy you have and how much excitement to go into this. I know I knew last year that she really wanted to get this position, and I can't even. Her peers, there we go. Her peers voted her into this by a pretty remarkable majority to get into this position, and she's represented, I think, very, very well. Sam has been with the Drama Club and this year served as the stage manager and vice president. She is a 4-year member of that. She is the Key Club president and a 4-year member of Key Club. She is involved with the Relay for Life, getting that back up and running and on its feet, and is currently the president for that. She is the Voorhees class of 2026 officer and has logged over 900 service hours in the last 4 years. In the future, she is going to study biomedical sciences at the University of Buffalo on the pre-med track, and her goal is to become an infectious disease physician. So I wish you all the best in your future endeavors as well. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to miss the two of you very, very much. So let's make sure we spend a little bit more time together before you guys go and graduate. Okay? Thank you.
You're good now.
I'll get you both.
Can we get one with all four of us?
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. See, that's why you're the student quarterback. That's why you're going to med school.
Making one final decision before I go.
Absolutely. All right, ready?
Thank you.
Andrew, Samantha, Max, Maury, feel free to depart. I know you have exciting nights happening tonight. You have exciting nights ahead. Congratulations one last time. And Sam did confirm you don't have to come to the June meeting. Your duties end as of tonight. So. She was a little scared for a moment there. So again, thank you, and by all means, feel free to step away as we shift into the rest of our business.
I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. It really has been amazing, and I know we all feel the same way. It's really a first step in learning leadership on a bigger level than just the school. So thank you all so much. It's been a very welcoming environment, and I'm very glad that I got this opportunity, and I know you feel the same way. So thank you.
Thank you. Congrats, and we'll see you at graduation.
Thank you. See you then.
All right. Okay. Okay. Wasn't there, didn't we get an email? I think it was linked. Yeah. Email. Yep. Okay. Right. So we are shifting gears. We have a special ed presentation coming up. I believe we all received the email with the presentation. It is going to be projected, but for folks who want to follow along, I believe it is there. I thought I recalled. Yes. You should have an email with the presentation so that you can follow along with what is presented as well.
We can really clear a room, can't we? Okay, so good evening, everybody. I don't know who both of us are, but for those watching, Jen Komorowski, Robert Galecchio, Director of Special Services, Director of Special Education and Curriculum. So we're here to talk to you tonight just about the special education IEP. They're individualized, but really, truly, special education across the continuum really can look very, very vast and varied. So we offer, and we're going to talk about all of these tonight, things that start all the way from consultation. We're going to start with that least restrictive environment, LRE, you'll hear talked about in special education, all the way through our more restrictive and self-contained programs that we offer all here in the district. And what's really important and that I think we highlight about this is that it looks different for every single one of our students, right? So without further ado, we're going to talk about each of these programs. Again, questions as we go along.
So welcome everybody. Before we start talking about our programs, I just want to say a huge thank you to our staff, our related service providers, our child study team members, paraprofessionals, teachers. They're the ones on the ground with these supports and services every day, and it's a huge help for Jen and I. They're proactive. They think student-first mentality, so it's a great pleasure to work with the special services staff that we have here in the district. So as Jen was talking about that continuum of services, from most restrictive to least restrictive, consultation is a service that's provided both at North Hunterdon High School and at Voorhees High School, and it is our least restrictive service. So a consultation service is provided by a special education teacher, and we mirror this particular model after what students would see in either a 2- or 4-year institution at a college level. The special education teacher will consult with either the child directly or indirectly, or with the teacher directly or indirectly. As the student needs additional supports, they have that point person to reach out to. Similarly to a student on a college campus, if they need support in one of their classes, they would go to an area and they would get those supports. So we try to model this particular service after what kids would see at college level. As we move forward in the continuum to more restrictive, these are the 2 types of programs that you typically see or hear of when you think of special education. The first is in-class resource. In-class resource, what that looks like is 2 teachers, 1 special education teacher, 1 general education teacher. We offer in-class resource in all 4 subject areas. What we try to do, to the best of our ability, is we try to have our special education teacher highly qualified within the subject area they're teaching. So now we have 2 highly qualified teachers, 1 with a special education background, 1 with a content-based background, providing supports to our students. In these programs, IEP goals and objectives are addressed, modifications and accommodations are implemented. Now this is a class of about 25 students, 10 of whom would be classified. As we move even more restrictive, we have our pull-out resource replacement. This particular program is a maximum of 10 to 12 students. The curriculum can be modified based on the needs of the child, based on the IEP goals, and it is a smaller group setting. It's students who benefit from a smaller group. And it's taught by a special education teacher that is highly qualified within that subject. Okay. Another program that we offer at both North Hunterdon High School and at Voorhees High School is Study Skills. Study Skills was developed to aid the transition from our 8th graders into 9th grade. They talk about executive functioning skills, they talk about the child's IEP, the child becomes familiar with their IEP so they can advocate for themselves, they can reach out to their teachers. So we really try to give those skills to students in the 9th grade level that they'll need to take them, carry them through the remainder of their high school career. North and Voorhees also offers a reading program. So this is a supplementary reading program, which means it is in addition to their English class. So if students have more significant needs with either reading, fluency, comprehension, decoding, this is the type of student that would benefit from our reading program. Our reading program is a small group, again, 10 to 12 students, and it really focuses on giving the child the skills that they need for either comprehension or decoding. But again, it is supplementary. It doesn't count as an English course. It's in addition to our English courses.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yes. When you say restrictive, what does that mean? Like, there's different restrictive. Like, I'm not sure what you would say.
Sure.
Say like most restrictive, a little less restrictive.
Yeah, so it's talking about the level of support that the student needs. So we're actually going in the direction of our least restrictive, meaning there's really very little intervention that the student needs from our special education staff. We're actually getting into our most restrictive programs in the district, meaning those students require the most support from special education related services. So the more that you're adding into that document, related services, counseling, speech, all those things makes it more restrictive as you go.
And the goal for all of our students is to be as independent as possible as they progress through high school. So that's why we have that continuum. So as they progress and become more independent, then we can pull those services back and they can work for themselves.
So getting into our special class programs, so we're going to spend a little bit more time on these because we have quite a few. As you can see, there's the acronyms that we love so much. So there's programs that are housed both at North Hunterdon and both at Voorhees High School as well. So we're going to kind of dive into each of those programs for you so you can understand what all of those things mean. We like to make special education. So due to the unique nature of these programs, we only house one version, if you will, in each building. So there's programs that are specifically at Voorhees and there's programs specifically at North Hunterdon. We do not duplicate those programs because of how highly unique they are and specialized the staff are that work in these programs as well. So they are open district-wide, right? So if I live on the north side of the district, but really my student would need that programming at Voorhees High School, they would go to Voorhees High School and vice versa. Really, the great thing about our special class programs is we can educate a lot of our students in district, which is
something, our seats is something that's really important to us. You know, students should be a part of their home communities as much as possible, and you see what our out-of-district numbers look like. Those decisions are never made lightly, but we really want to educate as many of our students as possible in our home districts and allow them to have opportunities like every other one of our students does. In addition to our own students, we do also accept tuition students from some of our sending districts. We have taken 8th graders before, and some of our surrounding districts in the county. We currently have quite a few in a variety of our programs. So we're going to start with the North Hunterdon programs, and then we'll put in.
So the first and most restrictive, so that means they need as much support, is a program that was developed, I think I want to say like 2018. It's called the Lion Pride Academy. Our Lion Pride Academy, or LPA, is an in-district therapeutic school. This particular academy, this program, houses students that struggle with emotional regulation impairments. Years ago, they called it PD, or behavioral disabilities. The state has since changed its name to emotional irregulation impairments. So students that are qualified for this program, they're needed in the program. We have 2 special education teachers, we have a paraprofessional, and we have a full-time therapist from Hunterdon Behavioral Health. So students who need access to a therapist throughout the day, they have it within this program. So our goal with the goal of this program is to make sure that students maintain stable, so we can provide them with the academics that they need to for their graduation requirements. So this is our most restrictive ERI, emotional regulation impairment. We do have a second ERI program. We call this the Alternative Learning Community, or ALC, as with our alphabet soup of acronyms. These students that are in ALC, again, they still struggle with emotional regulation impairment, but they're able to navigate the building. In the LPA program, everything is pushed in. Their PE, health, electives, everything's pushed into them. In our ALC program, they can navigate the building, but they do benefit from one home base and selected teachers to teach their core academic classes. So those are our 2 ERI programs that are here within the district. We also have a learning and language disabilities program here. Students, this is a 9 through 12 program. Students in our LLD program typically stay with us till they're 21. So they have a modified version of the curriculums, math, science, and social studies. For the last couple of years, what we've been bringing in is a functional-based curriculum. So not only are they getting the academics of English, math, science, and social studies, but they're also getting a functional component on how to navigate those content areas. The case managers work very closely with the families. They meet very regularly. It's very tight-knit. If a student's needs change, then our program changes to meet those needs. So that's our LLD. When students graduate or meet graduation requirements, but they're still eligible for services, they go into one of our 2 18 to 21 programs. North Hunterdon houses one, and Voorhees houses one. The program, the 18 to 21 program at North Hunterdon High School, is called Pilot, Preparing for Independent Living and Transitions. These students, it's designed to provide naturally occurring life experiences. So in this particular room, there's a kitchen, there's beds, so students have the opportunity to learn how to live independently. They also go on what we call community-based instruction. So they'll create a list at ShopRite, and then they'll go out and they'll purchase those items at ShopRite, and then create something in the classroom. So again, it's preparing them for independent living. So this is the morning for our 18 to 21 students at North. In the afternoon, they go into a program called Career Development. Now, career development and the staff that work in career development have done a great job with developing community partnerships. So we have partnerships with HealthQuest, the prosecutor's office, Dunkin' Donuts, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and our students will learn the skills that they need to perform those job skills in the classroom. And then anywhere between 2 to 4 days a week, they'll go out in the community at one of these locations, and they'll perform those jobs, whatever they may. So again, it's an opportunity for some of our students to get work-based experience here in the district. And successfully, we've had a number of students who have retained either part-time or full-time jobs because of our career development program and the partnerships that the staff has made. That is our career development. Questions on those before I turn it over to Mr. Moransky?
They don't sleep there, correct?
No, they don't sleep in the program. No, they go home
Bed
and
is for just...
learning how to make
learning.
learn daily living. So learning how to make the bed, learning how to properly.
Okay.
Okay, so at Voorhees, students for independence. So we have currently 5 special class programs at Fortis. 4 of them are for students with autism spectrum disorders, and 1 is for students with multiple disabilities. So we start with autism spectrum disorders. Our classrooms are broken up based on their age and their needs. So we have 2 programs that are for students in the traditional 9 through 12, and then 2 classrooms that are in the 18 to 21 range. The classroom ratio in size is very small, so a 3-to-1 ratio, so that's a student to staff ratio. Sometimes the ratio is 1-to-1, depending on the student's needs. This is where I'm getting to kind of more restricted to speak to your question before. Instruction in this classroom looks like whole group, small group, and sometimes one-on-one instruction. We utilize the principles of applied behavioral analysis. Our district behaviorist works extremely closely with these 4 classrooms. That is a large focus of her role in the district. Behavior is monitored daily through daily data collection and in consultation with our behaviorist. The purpose of this program is functional goals, functional communication, and then eventually transition to post-secondary activities, whatever that may look like for each of these students. There is a ton of communication. This team meets at least weekly with the 2 of us, as well as the entire support staff, so all of the teachers, the related service providers, the case managers who work in this program. A lot of frequent communication, and home to the parents as well. And I said many, it's pretty much all of our students in this program stay with us through their last year when they're 21. And then we also have, this is actually, I think, our longest, trying to think back, our longest running special class program that we had in our district. A director, 2 directors ago, this was her baby, this is her project. When she noticed a need in our community, that we had more and more students that kind of fit into this category. So our MD classroom is for students that maybe are medically fragile. A lot of our students are non-ambulatory in this program. So it's really a focus on functional life skills and communication and integration into our whole school community. Really being able to have students have the feel of a high school program that they otherwise, if they were at one of the out-of-district programs that maybe can meet these needs of students, they don't get that. They don't have the interaction with their peers that they have. This class in particular works very closely with our related service providers. These are students that need an extensive amount of occupational physical therapy and speech language therapy. These students, I said many again, all of these students stay with us until they are age 21. So that's 1 classroom at Voorhees High School. And 1 program that applies to all of our special class programs that is housed both at North and Voorhees is our EOP program. Didn't forget the labels in front of your name tags in front of you were made by our students here in the program at North Hunterdon. So these are all in-district, in-house job skills that our students can work on. So we do that from grades 9 through 12. In each building it looks a little bit different just based on the students' needs. So for, like we just said, for example, here at North Hunterdon, there's an entire classroom that does things like engraving and printing and poster making on some really cool equipment that they've had for a number of years. At Voorhees, it looks a little bit more like jobs around the community in the classroom. So shredding in the child study team office, for example, or working in the media center, helping reorganize or whipping down tables, things like that. So kind of we start that right at the beginning of pre-job, pre-employment skills with our students right when they get to us. It's also part of our curriculum in both buildings, so they're learning about, interview skills and why do I have a job? Is a job important? How do I get a job? What kind of job do I even want or like? So those occur in both buildings. So for those students that are headed to that career development program that we talked about before at North, this would be kind of a precursor to that program. Any questions about programming?
Just a general question. So what's our population size for students that are served by these programs?
Special class programs, district-wide, ballpark.
Maybe not so much the number, but the percent? Is that like...
I was going to do that math in my head, but sure.
The number's probably easier.
The number's
Yeah, the numbers probably, I say there's approximately 30 students at Voorhees High School in our programs, and that's about 25 at North, yes.
In all these programs? Combined? Okay.
But that doesn't include just students with IEPs?
Correct.
That are integrated into Gen Ed classes?
Correct.
Okay.
That's just special class programs.
Okay.
That's the number, I think you're asking for, yes. Yeah. And potentially, those could all potentially be out of the district.
Yeah. So the biggest advantage of special class programs is that we keep the students in our district. They get to participate in all the high school activities that our general education students do. They don't have to go to a specialized school to meet the needs. So the biggest advantage is they get to stay with their peers, and it also financially makes sense for the district.
We have the widest variety of in-district special class programs in the county. None of the other high schools have as many as we do.
You might not be able to answer this question, but what number of students don't fit into our programs that we have to send out to other schools?
Not many. That's
good.
Not many.
Yeah.
We really, like I said before, we want our students with us at Hunterdon-Voorhees. So if we can meet their needs, we will. And that's a really delicate conversation the IEP team has. If we do have to get to that kind of conversation, then we need to look elsewhere. But not many.
All of these programs are adaptable. So as we see a new crop of kids come in, whether it be the AFI program or to a North program, we adapt the programs to the style of kid that we have in front of us. So again, it's a testament to our staff, their flexibility, and it's ever changing.
I'm not sure if you have this number, but you could probably speak to more of the demand for it, but out-of-district demand to enter into our programs, is that quite high?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And do we limit the amount of out-of-district placements that we can take because of the demand in district?
Yeah. Yes, so obviously we need to make sure we have spots for all of our students first, yes. But then if we can take other students from other districts, we do, and if it's an appropriate fit for them. That's really important to us and our teams is are you going to be a good fit in our programs? Are we going to be able to meet your needs? Yeah, we have quite a few. And I have to say our sending districts are really great too. If we're hitting 8th grade year and they may be looking at an out-of-district placement, they reach out to us first and say, hey, is this someone you could take a little bit early? We may be looking at an out-of-district need at some point in time. Do you think you could take that student early? And the answer is yes. And we currently do. So. Just wanted to highlight a couple additional supports that we do have for the students in both buildings. So resource centers, which is a support available to all of our students, but we do have our special education teachers are a part of those. That's a site for those general education students that need extended time. They might need additional support, a different alternate testing site. So that's available for our students in both buildings. And then in terms of related services, we have a district speech language therapist who she's just finishing up her first year. We moved off of a consultation model to a full-time employee, which has been really incredible. We have an OT and PTs that we contract out with, counseling provided by the child study team members as per students' IEPs, and then as I mentioned before, the district-wide behaviorist who also works in both buildings as well. So lots of extra services and supports for students. Any other questions?
Could you just explain how the Unified program fits in with this? And I don't know if that's just a Voorhees specific one or if there's a complementary one.
No, that was a great question. There is a complementary one in both buildings.
Okay.
Yes. So that's a general education initiative, but absolutely can talk about that. So Unified Leadership is a course available to students throughout the school day. So they register as an elective course that students can choose to take, and then according to where it kind of fits in their schedule, they get assigned to one of our classrooms, one of our special class program classrooms, and this is both North and Voorhees High School. And then they are on the roster. Like just if it happens to be English class, that our students are in the Unified Leader is in English class as well. The expectation is not that they're mastering the English curriculum that our students are, but they are there as a positive peer role model, another classmate. And that happens in academics, electives, and then we also run Unified Health and PE at both buildings too, which is a health and PE course taught by our PE teachers that is an integration of students with and without disabilities in health and PE. And then of course we have the sports that you hear about and all the social clubs and activities as well.
How many, I guess, LCSWs do we have on staff?
In the child study team, we have 2. We have 1 in each building. But district-wide, we have more because some of our counselors also fall under an LCSW as well.
Yes, all the mental health clinicians that we contract out under behavioral health, they're either LCSWs or LPCs.
Okay, so
they're
we
licensed
contract out LCSWs to Hunterdon Behavioral, and then we have some on staff.
Correct. So the child study team is made up of a learning consultant, a school psychologist, and a social worker. So we have, Voorhees has 2 school psychologists, a social worker and a learning consultant. North Hunterdon has 4 school psychologists and a social worker, and the learning consultant goes back and forth as needed.
It does does get a little confusing because like an LCSW is a clinical license.
Right.
That has to be supervised by somebody who has clinical supervision skills. All of our, whether they have their LCSW or not, they're functioning under a school social work certificate, so they're functioning under an educational certificate, not a clinical one. So sometimes there's a dual role, and you have to sort of, that's why we contract out with clinical services.
Are we at capacity? Like, you mentioned that we can bring other people in from other districts. Do we typically operate at capacity with these programs?
In our boroughs, not yet.
Okay.
Rich, did you have a question also?
Has there ever been anyone from further than out of district, like out of county, that comes to our school for any of these services?
Yes.
Would you rank say that you said it's the best in the county, how would you rank it in the state or maybe surrounding counties?
I just think we offer a lot of opportunities that not a lot of public high schools have. And ours was based on sheer need, right? That's kind of how these all started, was us taking a look at what are our future, what are our sending districts. Again, our sending districts are incredible with articulation with us, and we kind of get an idea. I'm already getting calls about next year's, so it's current 7th graders, so next year's 8th class, I'm like, oh, let's start talking about the needs of students and what kind of programs we're going to need for them. So, that's kind of how we continue to develop the program. So,
would you say that our population size, in addition to the uniqueness of us having 2 separate buildings, kind of gives us or lends us that ability to offer as many classes and services as we do, because we can house maybe more people and do things like that. So it's kind of a testament to our ability to juggle that as well.
I definitely think it's a benefit having 2 buildings, absolutely. Because it does take space, right? It's we're talking about a lot of classrooms, but yeah, 2 buildings.
That's great.
I don't know if you'll have it handy, but maybe in the future, I'd love to see a study, because I know when I first got on the board, we wanted to make sure we kept our students in district for all of the reasons, especially, in their home communities, but to see how we've been able to minimize out-of-district placements. I mean, I know it's probably a lot, so I'd love to see those numbers
Yeah, we did a little snatch. We did a little snippet earlier this year.
Okay.
The project, but I can go back.
Yeah, just because I know that's how this has evolved and developed, and it's phenomenal, and it's meeting the needs of not having our students be sent to other programs throughout the state, and it's physically fiduciary responsible that we keep them in, but also for the students to be part of their home communities. It's tremendous, so great job.
And one thing I also credit both Bobby and Jen on is that they focus on what the students need first. So again, these programs were developed because it's what's good for kids. The fact that we save money on it, that's the second reason. That's a good reason, but it's not the primary driver of this. The primary driver of this is what's good for students, and if we save money on it as a result, that's icing on the cake. So.
It is, tremendous.
So of the 50 or so students that are in the various programs, would you say that is relatively flat? Are you seeing an uptick, a downtick from years past?
And then we're seeing an increase.
Seeing an increase. Okay. And of the students that do go out of district, are you seeing, are they extreme outlier type cases, or are you seeing patterns where maybe you adapt to it in whatever those districts are specializing in to help that student, to maybe amend our program to maybe see like a common theme that they're going in a district for, right? You guys do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say, without getting too specific about the needs of those students, they are more specific and wouldn't necessarily fit in one of our programs. So yeah, it is a little bit more specific need.
And are you seeing a common,
Amongst
like where you
those
would then adapt the program to bring it in-house, or is this just?
outliers, like
Okay.
you said. Yeah, that's probably a better way to describe that. It's really specific, unique needs.
So you said differently, you're not seeing a void in any of the programs where we might need to expand to a common theme that you're seeing out of district placement?
No, not right now. Not right now, but we do keep an eye on that, because that would be important if there was something that we're missing.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to commend the work that you guys do. As the sibling of somebody who had to go out of district because there was no program, and see how that socially affected them. And then as a parent
wholeheartedly appreciate the work and effort you guys put into what you do to serve the students here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Komorowski and Mr. Fletcher. All right, we're going to move to curriculum instruction and technology. So to kick off any conversation, first, can I get a call for a motion second to approve agenda items 11.1 through 11.3? A motion, Tara, can I get a second? Second, Andrea, thank you. You'll recall we spoke about each of these last week. The Curriculum Articulation Initiative, conversations on curriculum coordination and down the road potential savings there. We saw the professional development plan for next year as well, and the home instruction. I can't remember if that was last week or is that updated. Was it the same or updated? That was the only thing I think the instruction was just the same. Okay, yeah, that's right. Any questions or clarifications for anyone? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstentions? All right, next we have policy and school security.
Too late, but I did want to point out that we did add the rates on. That was last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, that's what it was. Can I get a call for a motion second to approve agenda item 12.1? Can I get a motion, Dan? Can I get a second? Nicole, thank you. Questions or clarifications here? I know we had some good conversation last week. Rich?
So one of the things that I thought about after when we discussed this last week, so the transportation route and services program. So is there a letter or whatever documentation that's going to be sent out to the, I'm assuming, to parents?
About
what's that going to look like?
Informing them? Yeah, I think we had some conversation, and I think the policy is the first step in then drafting the letter. And
so there's a specific form at the State Department that makes us use to do the transportation waiver. We'll be sending a letter explaining what that form is, how to sign up for it, what the steps parents will be taking or be eligible for that payment.
Okay, and when do you anticipate that being completed and going out?
June 24th, as soon as
So
we get to the second reading of this. And so we're going to be working on all those details between now and then. And when I say June 24th, it might not be the next day, I think. But it's going to be the end of June, beginning of July at the latest, so that we can get that information out to parents so that they know what's coming up. And then we're going to remind them of that right at the beginning of the school year so that they can, when it's timely and it is something they want to do, they'll be able to do it right at the beginning of the school year when the kids are starting.
Okay. And then the other thing that I thought of, so they're going to rescind the senior parking, right? Or essentially reinstitute it, right? Yeah. So by doing so, they're going to pay, and then if they sign the waiver, they don't use the bus, they're going to get their fee back, right? Correct. Which is essentially bringing them to zero.
Correct.
The other students that are not parking on campus, they're going to be incentivized, where they're essentially going to get a gain. Correct. Right? So that was the only component of it that I really didn't love. That one party of it is being essentially brought back to zero, and the other students that are parking on campus are being incentivized. So it's not equal in my mind. So if this was up to me, I would still rescind the parking and make it an incentive for all parties and not just the parties that are not parking on campus.
I don't think it's one party making out over the other, because the seniors and then second semester juniors would still have to pay the $75 parking fee because they're using a privilege of parking on campus, whereas the rest of them are rescinding that are waiving that right to transportation, but they're not getting any other privilege out of this. Like, they're not using our space. Whereas the seniors and juniors are using our space, using our resources, they're having the opportunity to park here. So that's a privilege that they're using, and they're doing that for free.
Doing everybody else.
No, because nobody else is parking on campus.
No students, but I mean, like, and we talked about this before, even last year, like, what I personally didn't like about it, like, we don't charge a parking fee for any other class of people that are using the lots, outside of students, coaches, referees, parents, visitors, anybody. It's just one subset of users that are being charged to use the same lots that all parties are being used. That's what I didn't like about it. So if you have a visitor here, or even a referee for a football game, or even the police that come here, or anybody, nobody has that fee except one small subset of users. That's what I didn't like about it. If it was equitable across all users, that's a different conversation. But in my mind, it's really being targeted to one small subset of users, not all users of one.
Sorry?
Oh, I thought you meant.
We're in the middle of
We're first read.
discussion.
Right.
Right, but if we want to suggest changing language, for example, I completely agree with suggestions that we change some of the language. We need a motion? That Stephen?
Yeah, we're in our first reading, so we have a first read and a second read. I don't know if it's something where it goes to the committee to sort of finesse or clarify any language at this point. I know we still have our ad hoc committee as far as that goes, and that's where this came from.
So these things I think are a finesse thing. You know, it's, you could, instead of saying a reimbursement of $75, you could just say a payment of, and you could say slash, you know, parent slash guardian, and make sure it says per person or per student somewhere. Those are finessing. Mr. Lordy's suggestion is not just a finessing, it's a major change to the spirit of the.
Right.
Well, it's not a change.
How do we do that?
The change is in here, because there's already, no parking was approved last year, so this would be the change.
Right, but if we vote on this next, as a first reading.
We vote on it as a first read tonight, right?
It's on the path to becoming policy.
Yeah.
Correct.
So if you want it, you don't want that, you want it to be something else, I think he needs to have a motion.
Correct.
To do something.
Yeah.
Not just finessing language.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Andrea?
Yeah, I would say I agree that it should be, the reimbursement seems to make sense if it's per student rather than per family. As somebody who's had 2 kids at the same time, I would prefer, I think that would have incented me more to, you know, do it. So I think I agree with that change.
Andrew?
Do we have other policies that lay out costs, price schedules?
Facility rentals and facility usage. I don't know the number off the top of my head.
So it just seems odd to me. I feel like that would be kind of a regulation side that would go along with the policy. Maybe we set a policy with an idea around it and then trust the administration's worth the numbers.
I did not pay him to say that.
We know, Brian. So yes, I agree with you that the regulation would typically address the cost and the little details of how this is going to go about. And it will. There's regulation that we already developed that will come to you with the second reading for the policies. And that regulation will have those cost structures going to be the same, $75. That's what it was. So our previous policy manual had a policy about student parking and then a regulation that had all the cost structures and all the rules and regulations around it, right? Only with the school boards, they did not bring a regulation over. They only did the policy. And the policy did not stipulate any of the details. And that's why last year when there was a motion made on the table, you know, without any administrative recommendation to take away parking fees, the board voted to take it away. What we're asking for is to put this in policy now so that we can have it in policy. This is how we will move forward. This is what the board will expect. If the board ever wants to change that policy in the future, they can. But this is what the board would give the administration the ability to come up with the fee schedules, talk about the process on what they have to bring in, registration, insurance, you know, making sure that all those little details that someone that can drive has all the information they need to be able to get their parking, including the fee.
Does the student parking, so you know some schools park, you have to sign off on random drug testing, is ours? Is
Yes,
that-
so part of our requirements are random drug testing. Again, that would be in that regulation. That's part of the requirements. So.
Other questions or clarifications?
So following Brian's recommendation, I'll make the motion not to reinstate the parking fees for students using the lots or parking permits for Norfolk.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion.
I understand the thought there. However, those students would still be getting free parking if they move forward with, precluding themselves from taking the bus. They would also be getting usage of the lot on a daily basis, which incurs the school costs, correct? Which I think is a little bit different, in my opinion, of, we're not charging parents who may be parking in the lot or a referee or such, but we're also not charging students additional money to park off hours, right? Like some of those other people would be parking here. So I still think it's a sufficient incentive for, being that they're going to get usage of the lot as a privilege, which could incur the public costs. They're still going to get their money back, and we're also going to incentivize other people who are not going to get that same privilege, right? They're just having a parent drop them off. So I still think I like the way that it is on there now.
Other comments? Steve?
I think that the senior and junior parking is, the main part of it is that it's a privilege. So if there's a cost to it, then you are saving money by being reimbursed that fee. So that's why I would be okay with that being the way it is and seeing it fairly inequitable for all parties involved. Even it's a privilege and not a right to get to park there.
Other comments?
You get to take your own car.
Right.
Have that extra fun stuff, so.
I mean, sorry.
Nicole?
Did I interrupt you? Okay.
Oh.
I think there's a big difference between students parking here and teachers parking here to come do their job, and parents parking here to come advocate for their children, and referees and coaches parking here to do their job. It's a requirement for those people to be able to have to park here. You can't walk here. And I don't know a parent who would walk here. I don't know a referee who would walk here. These students are coming here, and yes, they have to come to school if they're enrolled, but they don't need to drive here. That is a privilege. I think there's a huge difference and distinguishing characteristics between the types of different people who will be using the parking lot and parking on property. And I mean, that's just why I would support reinstating the $75. And they'll get it back. It'll be zero, net payment. So you're using a privilege for free.
Brian, did you have a comment as well? Oh, okay. Any other comments? All right. Tara? Yes?
Well, I just wanted to kind of parlay into the programs that we set up for our students. These are learning opportunities, and being a senior, rite of passage, but there is responsibility, and it's not a lot of money. I mean, for some people, we have programs through offset if they can't afford it, but, it's a discipline, and you go through the right to register, do that drive, and then at the end, you follow all the rules, you do great, you get it back. I just think that's a positive life lesson on this, in addition to, helping us come to terms with transportation costs.
Well, that's the thing, and I think everyone needs to keep in mind that the brass tacks of the matter is they're doing the district a favor by not taking the bus.
Oh, yeah.
That's a reality.
Right. But the lessons of, we all go through it.
That bus cost,
Yeah.
if they were on it,
Yeah.
is way more than 75 bucks. Believe me.
Oh, no, I know. No, for the students, you know,
Correct.
we all, I paid parking fees. We all pay parking fees as students. It was part of the process. It's part of the learning experience in the journey through high school. So they put it out, they'll get it back. They follow the rules, they get to drive. That just outside of losing the bus routes, it's a process of becoming an adult. And I think it's a valuable lesson for 75 bucks.
I disagree, but okay.
Okay.
Other comments? All right, I don't know, we have a motion to...
Motion within the motion.
Within the motion. So basically, we have a motion to eliminate that initial $75 fee for student parkers. I don't know
That's
if we
not
should...
correct, but how would you phrase it?
How would you phrase it?
Because the current policy states that we don't charge students to park, so.
So
but the
not
motion-
to institute the
Correct.
language, all right, to a motion not to institute the $75
Correct.
fee, that's it. Do we want this as a voice vote or a roll call? Let's do a voice vote. So, all in favor?
So can you just
Oh,
state the
yeah,
motion?
fine.
Yeah, so if the motion is to not reinstitute the $75, is Mr. Lordy's motion. So if you vote yes, then you are not reinstituting the $75. If you vote no, then you are instituting the $75 as the policy is written.
So
Right.
a yes vote would change the wording of the redlining to not institute, and a no vote would leave the
Would leave the
redlining
policy
as
as is,
As
yes.
right, okay.
Okay, yeah, I know that's tricky. So, voice vote, could I ask all those in favor of not reinstituting the $75?
Yeah.
Yep, thank you. And those in favor of keeping the policy as written with the $75? Okay. So that was the motion on the policy. We've been in discussion, now we have our vote for both policies here. A first read, we will revisit this next month with the second read. So this is for the policies as written. All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstained? No? Okay. All right. Finance, Facilities, and Transportation. Can I get a call for a motion and second to approve agenda items 13.1 through 13.10? Can I get a motion, Brian? And a second, Tara? Thank you. Questions, clarifications? I know we talked a bit about our Bloomsbury referendum last week. We talked a good bit about the Strauss estimate for policy services. Really, we saw everything up through the bills list and the financial reports that we discussed last week. Questions or clarifications? Stephen?
Over the purchase of 53,000, the computers seem a lot less than what you anticipated. Am I correct in thinking that, looking at it first, or was it, how'd that come in? I remember you guys saying you guys were negotiating those, and G was doing a really good job. It just seemed like it came in at a good number.
They were slightly less. We did have not to exceed amounts, so we always make sure that they're a little bit higher,
Yeah.
just in case. Yes, they were low.
But they're definitely more expensive now than they were last year, and
Unfortunately,
the year
compared to
before.
last year.
Yeah, they've gone up significantly.
Yeah, no, it just seemed like it came in at a better price than what I anticipated, so it's nice to see that.
Is it as bad as healthcare?
Yeah.
No, well, I do think there was talk about a 50% increase in the price of Chromebooks in a single year.
Yeah.
And
That's worse than healthcare.
yeah, it's actually,
As a percentage.
as a percentage, it is worse, yeah. And the fear is that will continue because of the demand, the AI demand for chips and memory are causing the costs or the scarcity of chips for Chromebooks.
It's going up weekly.
Yeah,
Brendan, how many,
These prices are locked in.
right.
how many Chromebooks are represented in there?
I'm sorry, Rick? How
How
many-
many Chromebooks are
we
represented in
purchase
this
in a
program?
given year? It's probably for the incoming freshman class, so the number, I don't know, 625 across both high schools. All freshmen coming in.
And replacements.
Yeah, and some replacements.
Yeah. But I mean, the students who are already students are maintaining their Chromebook for the duration of their career.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's another
I mean-
That's another like lesson learned.
Okay. Speaking from some specific experience, I see. But I guess generally they do survive their 4-year lifespan of
This one
years.
was hanging on like duct tape.
Right. I definitely think the battery goes by year 4.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 4-year life cycle.
I didn't know they kept them, to be honest with you. She just told me, I learned for the first time today. I thought they turned them in at the end of the year. I didn't know they kept them for the duration. Same for computers.
Just on the Bloomsbury thing, from the discussion from last week, doing some of these governance classes, we learned that we really don't speak for the board. So are we going to put out some sort of statement? Are we taking a stance that we support this as a district, as a board, that if any of us wanted to put that to the local school board or the township or something like that,
Yeah.
are we going to come up with something like that?
So
Or
I was thinking about that, and I know, Andrea, you had sort of brought up this idea that this is something that requires communication. I know in the past, we've had sort of community outreach as sort of as a committee. I don't know if this is another opportunity where we might want to have 1 or 2 individuals, not to be looking right at you, Andrea and Tara, but maybe to have some conversation about just like what are some of those things that we might do. Because I think what came up last week were we recognize there's things we could do certainly individually, but there are things that we can do as a board, and whether those things as a board might be something that if we were to draft statements that go to municipalities, we could even get to a place where we are liaising and going and presenting at a municipality, but I would want that to be something that, we have clarity on and we're not doing individually. And then if there are other ideas, whether it's on part of district level communications, where we think they might go out, or we even talked about back to school nights, maybe there's some kind of a flyer or something that goes out for parents at back to school night, right as we're getting close to the vote. That would make those efforts. I just thought it might be useful to have folks in an ad hoc capacity sort of kind of harnessing that work a little bit. Brian?
But to answer Rich's question, which is, can we say that the board supports this? If we pass this resolution, I would say yes.
the board
we can
supports
say
it,
the
correct.
board supports it.
Yeah, so I was
can't
more
tell-
specifically looking for, are we as a board stating reasons why we support this, right? And it's just, there's
One
this,
message.
The
there's
talking
this,
points that go behind.
this weird line,
the
right,
reason.
when I did those governance 1 courses, where it's like, you're really not supposed to speak for the board, right?
Correct.
I'm not
People how to
supposed
Or
to
tell them
speak
how
for
to
the
vote.
board and tell them like, well, we
Tell
voted
them
this
to
way
vote.
because of this, and this, without it being a cohesive thought, right?
It's the beyond piece that you're asking about.
That's
You
right,
can
that's-
say,
that was-
yes,
so
the board
it's-
supports this.
So
Well,
it's kind of
assuming we
saying,
pass it.
like, if there is 5 bullet points as to why, as a board, we think this is good, should we develop that so that if in a public forum, one of us wants to present that, then it's cohesive.
Yeah.
Or in a
The same
non-public
message
one.
as a
Right.
forum. If you're asked casually about it, we
Right.
should be communicating from the same order.
Here are the things that are
Yeah.
to note.
A unified front.
Yeah, and whether that's, a communication as somewhere on our website, a communication at a flyer at a back-to-school night, or we talked about the roundtable of the sending districts. There is that capacity as well for each of us to go to respective K-8s as a liaison and just say, hey, you might have heard, this is something that we moved. Here is, a piece of information that,
Even if
you
they
can use.
their back to school nights too, at the round table, you can
Correct.
bring that up and get
Yeah.
them to share it on
but you're already planning to do that, correct, Rick? Like, you're gonna inform the community, like, you're gonna inform the parents of this change. So that one pager, so to speak, could be the same material that.
Correct. I mean, ultimately, that would be streamlined and would make sense.
It seems easy to me, the easiest thing to do, just come up with that, and whatever you disseminate to the community, you can use that, and this is what it's our position on.
Yeah, and I think it's a combination of figuring out what that message is, but then also sort of delineating what all those avenues are that could possibly go. Yes, Nicole?
My suggestion was going to be that we develop a unified message, publish it on our website, have it available for printing. If we do go to sending districts to their Board of Eds, or send it to them to disseminate at back to school nights, but have it be a tailored message that we all agree on, that says that these are the main
salient
reasonings.
points.
Yeah, these are the main reasons that we have decided as a board to approve this, this change or the addition of this sending district. And that would be where we would direct people to go if they address us in public. Why did you guys? Because we can't speak for the board to what you were saying. We're not supposed to say we or anything like that. You can say I, whatever, but you're also supposed to be presenting yourself, whether you agree or not, as this is what the board has decided. But that would be a place on our website that we can direct any constituents that have questions or concerns about it as to why we decided to approve it, direct them to that webpage, and it would outline the reasoning.
And I would say if this ultimately does go in this direction of we go and visit those constituent K-8s, or we go to those municipalities, I know we've had conversation that as a body, what are the additional efforts we can make to engage the broader community beyond the messaging that we have here. So it is a unique opportunity for us to inhabit that role a little bit more. But again, with comfort and conversation about that in terms of what it is we're bringing forward. Andrew and then Dan.
The feasibility study that you shared was commissioned by Bloomsbury? Okay. So I looked through that, and there's a lot of reasoning in there. It is absolutely from the Bloomsbury perspective. Right? So we can use some of that, but we definitely have to tailor it from our perspective when we come up with this.
Right.
Make sure that was out. It is a great document. There's a lot of information there, but it's absolutely skewed from that perspective.
Well, and I think one of the main points made last week was, we're not talking about a significant number of students. It's not as though we're gaining students in some different capacity, but it does have that impact on other tax implications and capital implications that you can explain. Dan?
It's very similar when we went out for referendum. Remember, there was a misunderstanding that it was going to cost the district money when we really were just going for debt service. So we were trying to get that message out. So we actually did go. I remember going to Lebanon Borough and going to Clinton Township and spoke just at a public setting. But the board went out and decided, hey, this is what we're going to say. This is what, and just went out with that public message. So very similar situation.
Yeah. So, okay, other questions, clarifications on that? Brian? Oh, and then Rich.
Unfortunately, it's still, the text of this refers to Bloomsbury Township once and Bloomsbury Borough twice.
This is actually coming straight from their attorney. I've asked them to do all of the modifications because
I don't even know which one it is anymore.
It's
Bloomsbury
Borough.
Okay, so then the only change is in the very top.
Yes.
And we can state that perhaps.
And we can just, again, I don't think it's going to matter. What you're authorizing here is for them to take the next steps, which is to contact the county office and come up with that language. What we'll do is we'll note in the minutes that.
Yeah, there's probably no foul if there is no Bloomsbury Township.
There is no township. If there was one of each, that might be an issue, but not.
And
All of a
I
sudden,
mean,
we get a bunch of students from South Jersey coming in.
I was like, is there 2 hours bus ride?
It's confusing now.
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, our motion, just the text on the agenda, obviously says Bloomsbury Borough as well. Rich, did you have another point?
So if I understand it correctly, so Rich and your team are going to put together essentially how this impacts our community now, whether that's the benefits or whatever. I think the most important thing that this does is that it'll quell any misinformation that could arise in lapse of putting anything out.
Yeah.
So, and I think if I'm understanding you correctly, you're going to do that, bring it back to the board, we'll redline it or maybe approve it, and then you'll either disseminate it via Juliana or the district website. I'm assuming, I just want to make sure I understand what the process is going to be.
I mean, personally, I love Brendan's idea of an ad hoc.
Yeah, I think
And having
maybe
some board
working
members
with
involved to really
Tara, Andrea, and anybody
focus
else,
on
if they're
language.
particularly interested, to shape that language, think strategy a little bit, but yeah, come up with this common text that will go on our website, then we'll go out to these other places.
And before we do that, I'll look the numbers for you, so we don't have to figure out the numbers and things like that. Like, what impact will this have on Union Township?
That's
What
exactly.
impact will this have on Bethlehem Township?
Yes.
What impact will this have on each of our constituent districts? And we'll have a table of that, to show how much more this will contribute to the tax base. And then the bigger questions is, why is this good for students? Why is this good for our district?
Correct.
Why is this good for everybody in our district to vote for? Bloomsbury, they're going to sell it to their own township.
Correct.
But our responsibilities as a board of a whole, I think, to come up with the benefits for the rest of our districts, and then put those one sheeter or whatever we decide, and then come up with a little bit of a strategy, and that's what we'll follow. So.
Stephen, did you have? Okay.
Brendan, can we ask for someone to also table?
Oh, that's right.
So I'll go into why.
Yeah.
The Seoca Ford Flemington, I did talk about it last week. We did not have the final pricing and the co-op information. We got that late on Friday, and unfortunately, they used a co-op pricing from Morris County Council Cooperative, which is not one that we participate in. We've been asking for them to get us an updated purchase price using one of our cooperatives that we do participate in. I guess they don't want to make the sale right now, but they're not getting back to us. So I'm just asking someone to table the purchase of the F-350 from Seoca.
So you need that as a motion, or you just need that as
Someone
on
could
the
table
record?
that, yeah. Just a first and a second, and then we could table it.
Okay.
Can we break that within that? Because it's.
Yeah, we can target a specific thing. So if we're clear, we're looking to table the purchase, the Seoca Ford, because of the pricing and the contract is not yet where we want for it to be.
So
we want to revisit that.
Well, I think what Kate is saying is that it's quoted the wrong.
It's quoted the wrong co-op, right?
I move to
Table
that
it.
line item.
Okay, and Nicole seconding the line item. Does anybody have any issues or concerns with that? So we'll revisit that when we have it from the right co-op. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? None? Okay. And then, is there something else, or we're going for the big motion? Okay, yep, that's what I thought. All right, oh, yes, Stephen.
Are we going to be calling for a motion in a second to approve for 13, like fall of 13?
That's what I was about to do next.
So I just have one
We're in
last-
conversation on it still.
Okay, I have one quick, I have a question, and I was wondering if it was okay for now or for later, if it was explained or just reviewed which law firms provide which services to which part of us again. I know we have 4 different firms that we're using. I know there's some recent changes, and I was just wondering if that could be reviewed again as to who does what.
So sure, the law firms that were authorized last June was DeFrancesco Bateman by General Counsel. That turned into Taylor Law Group mid-year through last year. And then we have Giacobbe.
Larry Giacobbe.
Larry Giacobbe is Oprah. And Labor.
Employment? Yes, and labor and employment.
Labor and Employment and Oprah. Schenck Price is our special education attorney. and then Bush Law Group is our special counsel, who is currently acting as our general counsel right now. But special counsel is sort of there as a catch-all if there's any kind of conflicts or there's a reason to use special counsel.
So Bush Law Group is special counsel, but currently
Acting general.
Acting general.
And currently, we haven't made any changes to legal services. There is currently a legal ad hoc committee that I'm working with right now. I think we're at the point where everybody's completed the rubric, and now I'm just going to be kind of accumulating all of the results and scheduling final interviews with the top 2 to 3 firms.
And will those, and I'm sorry to, will those firms that we're putting out for RFQ replace all of these, or some of these, or one of these, or like a?
Could be a combination.
Okay,
I
cool.
think it just depends on how the outcome
Yes. Thank you.
So a question on that, how is it 2 or is it 3? How is it going to be determined?
We're going to look at the data that we just got from some of the rubrics.
Yep.
And we're going to see if there's 2 clear, people or firms that the committee wants, then we're probably going to do those 2. If it's a third, is it close, to that top 2? It'll be the top 2 or 3. That's why we haven't said whether it's 2 or 3 yet, because we don't want to exclude anybody if we think they're close to that top. There's some that are going to get excluded just by their,
What was that last part?
just by the rubric. Like they're going to be if they're in 4th or 5th place. I don't know if we want to hire another 4 attorney. So I will consolidate our attorneys to 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, is it unusual to have 4 separate?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, and again, depending on the size of the district, but yeah, usually I guess you see a general and a special.
Ed. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Personnel, HR.
And then depending like where I was previously, the general would take on negotiations and stuff like that as those things happen as well. Other questions or clarifications? So we are still in the motion, so we are now at the voice vote for items 13.1 through 13.10. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstentions?
I'm a no on 13.8, abstain on 13.9 and 13.10.
I abstain on 13.8 through 13.10.
All right. That brings us to Community Relations and Student Affairs. Can I get a call for a motion and second to approve agenda items 14.1 through 14.3? Nicole, motion. Andrea, second. Thank you. Questions or clarifications? I know we had these introduced to us last week. Andrea was the second. Nicole was the first. Andrea was the second. Any other questions or clarifications? All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstentions? All right. I don't know that we have anything new in delegates reports, Tara. I know you updated us last week.
Yeah, and then the only other thing is if you've got a survey, we're going to be putting our calendar for the Hunterdon County on June 4th. We have a meeting, so we're looking for topics. So if you complete the survey, it'll give us a good number to see what people are interested in.
Okay. Then I need a call for a motion and second to adopt Resolution 052626-2 for an executive session to discuss matters reflected in the attached resolution. The board expects to be in executive session for approximately 45 minutes. Let's call that 30 minutes and be optimistic. And upon return to public session, action will be taken. Can I get a motion? Rich, thank you. Second, Dan, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Opposed, abstentions? None? All right, we'll be back. Can I get a call for a motion and second to reconvene public session? Can I get a motion? Nicole, second. Rich, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? No? All right, can I get a call for a motion second to approve agenda items 18.1 through 18.4, include hand carries if provided? Can I get that motion? Motion, Nicole, thank you. Brian, you were just a hair too late, but I'll give you the second. Questions, clarifications? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Stephen?
I
Oh, wait.
abstained from 18 through 18.4 because I was absent.
Okay. Rich?
On 18.1, I'm a no on 2.1 and 2.2.
And did I see another, Cynthia?
18.1. Opposed to 2.1 and 2.2.
That's opposed?
That's a no.
That's a no? Okay. Old and, anyone else? Old and new business?
It's a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call.
Ms. Ayers? Yes. Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Hanley?
Yes.
Ms. Nitz?
Yes.
Mr. Lordy, I have you abstaining on 18, a no on 2.1 and 2.2 of 18.1.
Yeah, also, I'm sorry, abstain on 18.2.
Okay. Mr. Matthews?
Yes on 18.1, 18.2, abstain on 18.3 and 18.4.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes, I have you as a no on 18.1, 2.1, and 2.2.
And since I wasn't here on the 21st, 18.2.
That's an abstention.
Abstention.
On 18. Mr. Spanton?
Yes.
Ms. Stein?
Yes.
And Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Thank you.
Old and new business, Dan?
Did we pick a new date for the next working session?
We consolidated the June into the one date,
You're
Starting
right.
at
Okay,
6.
that's right.
starting at 6.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And
With
6
the goal setting.
will be goal setting, and then we'll move into our regular meeting at 7?
I think that's the plan that
That's
we
usually
follow.
why we start
Yeah.
earlier, so that usually takes about an hour. I
Yeah.
actually have to reach out to her if you want to reach out to Catherine and see if she's available.
Yeah, we will coordinate that with her to come to that. and
Can
confirm.
we, based on that, can we update the calendar? Is the calendar still shows?
Yes.
Yes.
Nicole?
Just housekeeping item, I'm not going to be here next week.
Okay.
I'll be in Vegas, I'm sorry.
You're not, yep,
Put it
sorry.
all on,
Sorry, not sorry.
I did want to,
Put it all in red for us. Yeah, that's it.
Red.
Andrew, you had brought up last month the conversation about the additional public comment. I did reach out to Kathy just to get any information that she might have. And I believe we had a chance to look at our bylaws, and our current bylaws do delineate our meeting structure with the one. So I guess what I was thinking there is we have the ad hoc policy sort of meeting anyway, potentially. If it's something as we get information, I don't know if it makes sense to filter it to them, to sort of look at the bylaws and say, all right, what would we have to change here, and what do we want to change it to? It was just a thought on a potential next step. I guess what I don't know, and this might be a question I have for Kathy, is a process. Is that a policy process, or do bylaws follow a different process, so that if we're at a point where we're having a first recommendation, a second recommendation, or a read, and then it becomes a new bylaw? I don't know
Typically,
bylaws.
I think-
I mean, I've worked with bylaws
Okay.
on a much lower level. I don't believe they require the second reading.
Okay, no, okay,
I think it's just consensus,
okay.
but I'm not sure.
Or could we just say we violated it before, so why don't we do it again? Because our meeting on April 21st had 2 public comments.
But it was a budget here, it was a
That was
budget
the
hearing.
That was the budget hearing. There's always a comment
Still
just
under-
on the
Under
budget.
the bylaws, we have
A separate budget.
separate laws for.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying. I see what you're
the-
saying.
The structure was open, so we could, it wasn't mandatory in the bylaw to have just 1 or 2.
Well, fine, we just need to,
Yeah.
we need to change our bylaws anyways if we sometimes
Yep.
do it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if budget public comment stands with its own sort of requirement as a,
When you have a public hearing, you have to.
when you have a public
comment
hearing.
session.
Okay.
Because we've had it for other situations too, for contracts. We have to have
Yes.
a public hearing on a modification of a contract. So there are specific reasons that you have to have a separate public hearing. I think it's whether or not you have it as an order of particular.
I guess my perspective then is it's a bad bylaw if we have a bylaw that says we can only have 1 public comment.
Well, I was just
Sometimes
talking
we
about,
don't.
yeah, I was actually just talking about the bylaw that has the agenda in it. It might somewhere else in the bylaws say something about, public hearings. Yeah, I'd have to look at that. But again, I think that might be something,
Right,
Yes.
because we nested a public hearing within a regular meeting, right?
yes, yes.
And some of this could get fixed as the transition back to Strauss as well. So, as we look at the language that we had, see what it said, and maybe it becomes less detailed.
Well, how long have we been 1 public comment? Do you recall?
It's been a while. I mean, I think we always had 2 public comments, and then during the, controversial meetings, it just became too much to have 2.
Okay. Stephen?
Did you just say, I was hard to hear, something about Strauss and bylaws in addition to the policy? Is that standard? Does Strauss provide us bylaws in addition
Yes.
to policies, or is that something else?
Yeah, so Strauss, both Strauss and school boards provide us with the bylaws, and the bylaws are part of our policy manual, so
Okay.
I think it does require a first and second reading like any other policy, but we can verify that. But yes, it's part of the policy manual.
That's
so-
from the policy provider, then, okay. Or maintained by the policy provider?
Yes.
Maintained.
Other questions or clarifications?
When was the last time our bylaws were reviewed? Was it when we moved to school boards?
Yeah, because that was actually the one thing that got moved, I think somewhat earlier in the process, I think. Maybe in September?
What year was
Well, we moved to school boards back in June, I want to say June or July. And I feel like either by the end of the summer, somewhere August, September-ish, I remember the bylaws were the one thing I think that came through for us to look at.
I mean, we reviewed them at that point, but I don't think we actually adopted anything until June of 2025, and we adopted the bylaws with the full policy manual that
Okay.
school boards.
Well, maybe I was thinking as we began, I think that might have been the only post-adoption review that might have
Actually,
happened.
yes. That's
Yes, there was a review after adoption. And I want to say it was September, if memory is serving me correct on that one. Andrew?
I'll just ask if we do review it and decide to change something, that we look at the whole thing and see if the entire thing does make sense.
Yeah.
There's some other things that are brought
Yep.
up, like why is municipal business after executive session? There may be a reason for that, there may not.
Yeah.
Just-
And that's what I'm hoping to get from Kathy as well, just to say before we start moving pieces around, what.
There used to be 2 old and new businesses as well. One in part of the regular agenda, and the reason we added the one after executive session was because some board members at the time said, well, we talk about stuff in executive session, sometimes I want to bring up old and new business now, and I don't want to wait another month for it.
Sure.
So, and that was,
Maybe we can have 2 of everything.
2 meetings a month.
we've already got that.
All right, anything else on old or new business? If not, I will call for a motion and second to adjourn. Can I get that motion? Andrea, can I get a second? Rich, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? None? All right, it's a wrap. Have a good night, folks.